So here I am. This is Rashid from Brixton Housing Co-op. Today we're going to be talking about fire safety, and I'm delighted that I'm here with Julian Jones. Many of them you'll know, of our brilliant contractors. So today we're talking about something really important, which is fire safety. And what we're going to be particularly talking about today, and you're going to be guiding us through, is the three types of alarms that we may well have in our house, which I understand is smoke alarm, heat detector, and carbon monoxide detector.
Correct.
And there might be a number of these throughout the house, and so what we're going to be doing is looking at where there might well be
Various different locations.
So here, for example, it's just two flats, and we're going to be looking at the two levels there. But you were highlighting to me that in bigger properties and bigger blocks, you might also install these in a number of other places.
Yeah, for argument's sake, if there's rooms coming off communal hallways, a main intake room where the gas might come in or the electricity might come in, basements, those particular areas are the ones that I would highlight more than anything else. Anywhere that has potential to catch fire or to bring danger to anyone inside the building.
Okay, fantastic. So what we're going to do is go in, take a look at these things, and for you to guide us through what they are, what each one does, how to test them, what to do if they're not working.
Right, yeah. It's all very, very simple, and it's nothing. The testing is very straightforward. The disconnection is very straightforward. But I understand some people might have mobility issues, or just might not be able to do it or understand it, and then just please give us a call.
Get in touch with Tim, get in touch with yourself.
My number's always on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so if there's any issues, and if these things do create an issue, it's usually 2 o'clock in the morning. It's never a sensible time, so please don't hesitate to call, because that's what I'm here for.
Okay, but hopefully with this, people feel more comfortable about what they are, what they do, how to test them, and what to look out for, and crucially also to let everybody else in the building also know where they are and what they do and so on. So let's go, shall we?
Let's do it.
So Julian, I guess let's start off by talking about smoke alarms.
Right.
And if we go through the house later, you could just show us where the smoke alarms are, and what they do, and so on. So when you're ready, can we just go through the house?
Yeah, most definitely.
So we've got something here. Is this a smoke alarm?
That is a smoke alarm up there, which all communal hallways will have, and also all hallways inside flats will have on various different levels. Their purpose basically is, obviously it does what it says on the tin, they detect smoke, and if anything like that goes in there, then it will set them off.
Fantastic. So let's go through the house and just see where they are. So we've got our first one here, and then let's carry on going through the house. So we've got one here.
Now also connected to that smoke alarm in the communal hallway, you can have a heat alarm which is interconnected to that one as well. So there'll be a smoke alarm in a communal hallway on many different levels depending on the house or the flats, and then there'll be a heat alarm connected to that in every single flat. So if, for argument's sake, the downstairs flat gets hot and there's a fire, it will set off a smoke alarm in the hallway, and it will also alert the person in the other flat, because it will set off the alarm inside there as well.
I see.
So it's a communal system which is all interconnected together just on the landlord's supply.
Okay. And just to check with that, so the reason why, so we've now introduced our second alarm, which is the heat alarm. The smoke alarm, I guess, as it sounds, is there, it detects smoke.
Correct.
But the heat alarm will detect
heat.
Would detect heat.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So if basically this flat gets too hot, it should set off the smoke alarms in this flat anyway, but it will also set off that heat alarm, which will alert the other flat that there is a problem going on and it's time to get out.
I see. Let's just take a quick look at this. Fantastic. So this is that heat alarm, which, as you say, is connected to the smoke alarm.
Smoke alarm.
They are more than me because we fitted them.
Yeah. So up here we have a smoke alarm, which will have on different levels of the house,
right?
Which can be tested by pressing this big button there, which will in fact set off all of the alarms because they're all hardwired and interconnected. They also, in case of a power failure, they also have internal batteries if there is a power failure, they will still work
Right.
for a period of time.
Right. And so in terms of just testing these things, so if people, I guess, should be testing these regularly.
Yeah, quarterly is good. You know,
Quarterly is-
every 3 months is a decent one to do.
Is that a
Really.
decent one? Or if you're, I mean, I guess if you're more keen, you could do it as often as you want.
You can test it
Do as often
daily if you want to.
And let me
but it
just
would
check
probably
that it's
annoy
simple that I
everybody.
can just press here
Press the middle button.
and then to stop it,
It stops itself.
it will stop itself.
That's just a
Fantastic.
test facility. It just alerts you that all the other ones are working around in the building as well, or in the individual flat.
Fantastic. And then if we go upstairs, I guess if you've got one that's higher up, we might just
do.
do something like a broom handle, I guess, to just test.
Yeah, anything that pokes. I mean, for argument's sake, you could do the same thing either with one of these implements here.
Yeah, or
do
broom.
something the same.
Right.
And that's it. And you just literally push that up onto there.
And again, let's just do that for the sake of
that.
fear.
It doesn't have to be precise. The button is huge.
Right.
It's almost like a punch button.
Right.
So it's very, very easy to test.
Okay, and so as you were saying before, we will have one of these on each level.
On each level.
Of the house. You've
Yeah.
introduced us to the smoke alarm.
Yeah.
And you've introduced us to the heat alarm. Let's go into the kitchen. In the kitchen,
We have a CO alarm, sorry.
which is a carbon monoxide
Carbon
alarm.
monoxide, which is because you've got gas appliances or a boiler.
Okay.
So that will detect gas leaks.
Right. And for people who may not know about carbon monoxide, I guess, is the silent killer because you
It's
cannot
the silent
smell it.
killer.
You
Yeah.
cannot smell it.
Yeah.
So, but it can kill
It
people.
most definitely can.
And so that alarm is really, really important. And did you say this one is a combination of a carbon
It is.
monoxide
And a heat alarm.
and a heat alarm?
The heat alarm you have to have a heat alarm in a kitchen because if you have a heat alarm doesn't work in the same way as a smoke alarm, whereas if you burn the toast, then if you had a smoke alarm, it would set off the detector. But obviously with a heat alarm, it doesn't work via smoke, so it will only go off if the kitchen area gets too warm or there's a carbon monoxide escape.
I see. So that makes so much sense. So in the kitchen, typically you wouldn't or shouldn't have the smoke alarm because otherwise that'd be going off all the time
it would drive people
when if you
crazy.
burn something
Yeah.
and so on. So that's
Yeah.
why we've got the heat alarm, and in many cases it might be a carbon monoxide detector as well. I think if we can see this, I think before I had, a separate carbon monoxide
You did.
and a heat alarm.
Right.
So some of the work that you're doing with the co-op is having these these
things,
combined ones.
Because they don't, to be fair, they're not very pretty.
Okay.
So if we can reduce the mess and the damage and everything else, then it's better to have a combination one.
Right, but if somebody happens to have a carbon monoxide one in their house, how would they tell the difference between the heat alarm and the carbon monoxide alarm? Would it be labelled that it's
labelled.
Should be labelled as
I
carbon.
mean, things can wear off over time. Things can get covered in grease. If you're not sure, the best thing to do is to send a photograph or ask Tim in the office just to clarify what's
Fantastic.
what. And then if he's not sure, then he would go to me and I would clarify it with him.
So that's a really good piece of advice from this. So I guess one of the things that people should do after today is go around your house, check where all of the alarms are, check that they're all working.
Definitely check their work.
Get to be familiar with the different types of alarms so that you know the carbon monoxide alarm or if it's a heat and thing and a smoke one so that you're
These things are going to save your life. So that's what they're designed to do.
right. Okay. And then if you're not sure, then to let Tim know. So for any reason,
Or myself.
or yourself,
Yeah, either one. Send a photograph to either one of us and we'll quite happily tell you what does
I
what.
guess for our due diligence, I should press this one to just check that this one
definitely.
also works. I'm going to use the broom hand for this.
Fingers crossed it works.
Let's hope it works.
Yeah, press it harder. You
Shall I
should
press it harder? Okay, let's just
press and hold.
Oh,
Now the rest of them go off as well because they're all interconnected. So the best thing to do when you test the alarms is not just to give it a little press like that, is to push and hold it until you hear the other ones going off as well. Then you know that everything is working correctly.
fantastic. Okay, so what we're going to do in a moment, Julian, is that we're going to come back and take a closer look at these kind of things. Because if, for example,
This is the typical smoke alarm that I'm installing, and so this is exactly what we use.
fantastic. So we'll take a look at that. And so what we can do is explore what to do, I guess, I guess there's two things that we should explore talking about. One is, I guess if they go off get out the house and don't be a superhero.
Yeah,
Get out
100%,
the
yeah.
house, get out the house, and so on, and make sure everything is then okay. And then when the fire service and so on have come, you can.
My advice on this is if it's difficult to tell what's doing what.
Okay.
Because obviously they're all interconnected together.
Yes.
So if you, for argument's sake, if the alarms go off,
Yeah.
and you know that it's cool, there's no heat, so it's not been the heat that's triggered it,
Right.
and you know that your building is not on fire,
Right.
then the best thing to do realistically would be to go down to the main gas meter and turn the gas off, and then get in touch with the office.
Okay.
Because obviously the gas is the most important. That'll be the one, but there'll be an escape, or potentially an escape.
Okay.
So if you isolate the gas, just switch the lever on the gas meter down, quarter of a turn, it won't go any further, either goes up or down. If you switch it down, then you know that, open all the windows, and you're pretty cool, and then you get in touch with either Ray Gasman or K&B or Tim or myself, and then we go from there.
Okay. So in other words, this is a really good piece of advice. So if the alarms have gone off, and if it's a case where there's not heat and there's not smoke, which you would have in your classic fire, you'd have
know.
one or both, you'd know, then it may well be that what's gone off is your carbon monoxide detector.
Correct.
And then you're opening the windows and so on.
Ventilate the building.
Ventilate the building.
Turn the gas off.
Turn the gas off.
And then you know you're safe.
Okay. So I guess one of the things that everybody should know in their home is where are those gas mains, so you know how to turn the gas off. So maybe when people are having work done on their house at any time, to ask yourself, or ask Tim, where would be the gas meter for this house?
A lot of people do know because they do take their own readings.
Okay.
And the lever on it is rather huge. You can't get confused.
Okay. So it's like a big button, is that?
It's a big lever.
It's a big lever. It's a big lever. Okay.
So you can't.
For the purpose of this, we might even see if we can find the one here just to show
that would make sense. That would make sense.
Okay, fantastic. So what we're going to do in a moment then is that we're going to look at what to do if you test them, and if they don't go off, which means that there's probably an issue with the battery.
If they don't go off, it could be several issues.
Right.
There could be a wiring fault,
Right.
Which would have been caused by myself. Or B, there could be a problem with the alarm, which is more predominant.
Right.
All these alarms do have a sell-by date, as it were. They're usually around about 5 to 10 years, depending on the alarms, which is written on the side.
Right. Let's take a look here then.
Let's have a look where this one is. Right, for argument's sake, this one here has got, I think it's November 29
Okay.
on it. Now, when the gas safeties are done these days,
Yes.
before it was just noted on the gas safety certificate that it's got a carbon monoxide detector.
Right.
Now, the gas safeties have changed, so they have to put the date of expiry on the gas safety.
So that will be on your gas safety, and that note that you will have, that slip that you would have.
You have.
So, for example, if you would
get, and that would be noted. And so it's not, they wouldn't come in and just go, oh right, you've got a CO2 detector, that's fine.
Right.
They have to log the date as well. Right. So when the gas safety was done, if it needed changing, then it would be put down that the CO2 detector, CO detector needs changing, and then the job would be raised via the co-op to do it like that.
And that's really good. That's good news if, for example, somebody was short-sighted or they couldn't easily reach.
The writing is very, very small, and it's even smaller when it's up on the ceiling.
Okay.
Another way of finding it out if they're not too sure is they can actually photograph from down, and then they can blow up the picture and see that way. But not everybody has a smartphone.
And then with these, if the alarm doesn't go off, I mean, we might just take a look at inside. I guess there's. Were you saying before that there's two types of batteries that might be in these devices?
Right. Well, predominantly in the heat detectors. Not the CO2.
So not the carbon monoxide.
They have an internal battery.
Okay.
But the smoke alarms and heat alarms can have a 9-volt battery inside it. The one I'm holding in my hand doesn't. That has an internal battery.
Right. And by internal battery, it's like it's inbuilt. It's built in. It's built, and you can't take that out.
The idea is you can't tamper with it.
Right.
And that is the most important thing, because if you start tampering with these, then they don't work properly, and then you've got potential that
Right. So in that instance, when that alarm goes, then if the alarm happens to go off, then that's it. You'll need to get a new alarm in the event that installed.
Okay, right. Sometimes these alarms can do an intermittent beep. That doesn't mean to say they're not working. That means that the internal battery or the 9-volt battery is starting to go. If one of these alarms that has the internal battery starts to beep, then that means the battery cannot be changed because it's internal, and you have to basically you have to report it to the co-op and get someone along to fit a new
Right. And when you were talking about that, these intermittent beeps, that could be of any of the 3 types of alarms that we talked about.
Any of the 3 types can beep.
Can beep. Okay.
And that'll be an intermittent beep, and it will keep going and going and going. But the best thing to do then is basically you find a screwdriver like that, preferably a screwdriver, not a knife.
Looks like a close look. Yeah.
And there is, on the side here, there is a place right there where the screwdriver will fit to disconnect the alarm. Right. And that's right in here. Basically, you have to just go around the alarm. There's nowhere else on the alarm that has that point there.
Okay.
Yeah. So what you would do, if it was on the ceiling, you would get a pair of steps, make sure the steps are open and safe before you even think about climbing up the steps. Then you get your screwdriver, you push it in there like so, and you disconnect it like that.
Okay. And so
this is the part that goes on the ceiling, like so, and this is the part that's underneath. Literally, it slides. So when you've depressed the button there, then it literally just pops out like so.
Okay.
Now this one, as I say, has got an internal battery. Other ones will have a little space here with an oblong 9-volt battery that goes in there. And if it beeps, then you take that battery out, recycle it, get a new battery from the shop, pop it in, and then you literally just hold it up like so, and then you just click it together again. And that means that it's connected back up to the mains, and it will be interconnected with the rest of the alarms. So just to run through that again, without it falling off, if this is on the ceiling, just literally push that in there. Now this is a little nipple that sticks up, and when you depress it, it releases it so that it can move.
So that would actually be the other way up on the...
That would be the other way up.
So that would be like that on our ceiling, right.
Like so. So you want to build this screwdriver, pushes that nipple in there so it can slide out.
Right, okay.
Sorry, one other thing. So as I tell everybody, if these ones start to beep,
the ones with the internal battery,
the best thing to do, because it will drive you crazy, is take it outside and hit it with a hammer, because then it will stop beeping and it will disconnect the internal battery inside. Otherwise, it will just keep beeping in the bin and beeping and beeping and it will drive you crazy.
So this could be happening even when the internal battery is beginning to run down.
Yes.
It could just continue beeping and beeping and beeping, which is why you just recommend that you just
wreck it. Unfortunately, you have to
wreck that in order to.
Now, also, if you do have ones with a battery that needs changing because it's beeping, the best thing to do before you change the battery is to check the date on it.
The date.
Because if it's coming up to expiry, then you might as well just have a brand new smoker.
Okay.
Just for the safety.
So there might well be worth getting in touch with Tim because it's coming up to that date, and so we could replace the alarm. And I guess with this, for anybody who's unsure, that they have mobility issues, any problems and so on, get in touch with Tim and see what it is that we can do.
Okay. Or myself. It's not a problem to do it.
Fantastic.
So I've done it many times for people, so it's not a problem.
Fantastic. So, Julian, I guess by way of summary, we talked about a few things today. We talked about the 3 different types of alarm that people have in their home, which is our smoke alarm, which is our heat detector,
Correct.
and our carbon monoxide detector. And sometimes they might well be combined.
Combination,
The combination type. So in my house here, we've got just the combination along with the smoke alarm. You've talked about how that they will be throughout a building, that they're connected so that if one goes off, they'll all go.
Also to carry on from that, some of the larger blocks of flats, for argument's sake, we'll say 151, that's got very, very big a smoke alarm circuit in the communal hallway.
Okay.
And what people may not realise is the main electrical intake and the gas intake have got heat alarms in those. Some of the cupboards have got heat alarms in those as well. So it could be those that would be triggering the system.
Okay.
So there's lots of it because everything is protected. Tim and I have made sure we blanketed absolutely everywhere and covered everything.
So then you're saying there's some of the larger properties, the larger
ones
the larger
people
block,
don't know about.
then there will be additional ones just to make sure there's that coverage.
For argument's sake, in this building, there's a basement here that not many people know about.
Yeah.
And there's 3 in there.
Yeah.
So that's another one to bear in mind. So just to let people know that.
Fantastic. So Julian, you were saying that if the alarm goes off,
and if all the alarms go off, because it should be collective because they're interconnected, and you know that it's not hot, there's no heat that's setting the alarms off, and you also know that the building is not on fire and there's no smoke, then it would be a gas leak. The best thing to do, if that is the case, would be to come downstairs, get to your gas meter, which should be located outside the front of the building.
So in this case, we'll just take a look. This is the one in this property. And we won't actually turn it off, but where would somebody find their lever?
Right over here. Now in this building, obviously there's 2 flats. So you've got 2 gas meters, 1 for each flat. The lever is right here on the mains gas coming in. So there'll be a bit of flexi pipe going to this. I can't remember what that's called now, but this is the lever here. And literally, when it's on, it's straight up, a bit like this one here. That one's straight up too. So to turn it off, there's usually a diagram on here how to do it, but you literally just push that lever down and that isolates the gas going to the building, which means that if there is a gas escape, you've isolated the gas. And as soon as you've done that, then you get in touch with Tim or the co-op and get someone out to check out the gas and do a gas safety check. And then obviously you would go back in. You can still be in the property because you've isolated the gas. So what you do is you go into the property, open up all the windows, vent the property, because as we know, CO is a killer. Carbon monoxide is a killer. So vent the property out, plenty of air, plenty of ventilation. There is no gas supply anymore, so the risk of any injury or death has been cut dramatically because obviously there's no gas coming into the building, and you don't turn the gas on until it's been tested out by a qualified engineer.
Thank you very much.